In the heart of ancient Rome, where power, wealth, and violence shaped history, a different kind of warrior was born. A warrior who did not fight for an empire, a warrior who fought for survival. They were called gladiators. Their battles became legendary. Their names echoed through the greatest arena ever built. But behind the glory, behind the cheering crowds, was a life filled with suffering, discipline, and unimaginable hardship. This is the story of how an ordinary man became a gladiator. The story begins around 264 BC, when Rome witnessed its first recorded gladiator fights. At first, these battles were not created as entertainment. They were part of funeral ceremonies, where warriors fought to honor the dead. But Rome quickly discovered something powerful. The people loved watching combat. What began as a ritual slowly transformed into one of the most famous spectacles in human history. But who became a gladiator? Most men did not choose this life. Many were prisoners of war, captured enemies brought back to Rome after battles. Others were slaves, criminals, or desperate people looking for a way to survive. After capture, they were taken to special training schools known as a ludus. Here, their old lives ended. They were no longer soldiers. They were no longer free men. They became fighters. Inside the gladiator school, every day was designed to prepare them for one purpose: survival. The training was brutal. Before they ever held a real sword, they trained with wooden weapons. They practiced thousands of strikes, blocks, and movements until their bodies reacted without thinking. A gladiator had to master more than just strength. He needed speed, discipline, endurance, and the ability to remain calm while facing death. Their bodies became their weapons. Every morning, gladiators trained under strict instructors. They carried heavy equipment, practiced shield formations, fought training battles, and pushed themselves beyond exhaustion. A single weakness could mean death inside the arena. But the training was not only physical. Gladiators also learned strategy. Because the strongest fighter did not always win, the smartest fighter survived. Life inside the gladiator school was harsh, but gladiators were valuable. Their owners invested in them because a successful gladiator could bring fame and money. They were given food that helped them build strength and recover from training. Their diet often included barley, beans, vegetables, and other simple foods that provided energy. They slept in basic quarters, trained every day, and lived knowing that their next battle could change everything. Not all gladiators fought the same way. Rome created different fighting styles, each with unique weapons and strategies. The Murmillo was a heavily armed fighter. With a large shield, sword, and powerful armor, he fought like a moving fortress. The Retiarius was completely different. He carried a net and a trident, relying on speed and skill instead of heavy protection. The Thracian gladiator used a curved sword called a sica and attacked with speed and aggression. Each style created a different kind of warrior. Then came the moment every gladiator feared: the arena. In 80 AD, Rome opened its greatest symbol of entertainment, the Colosseum. Thousands of spectators filled the massive structure. From ordinary citizens to powerful senators and emperors, everyone came to witness the same thing: a fight for survival. Before entering the arena, gladiators waited beneath the Colosseum in dark underground tunnels. Above them, the crowd screamed. Below them, fighters prepared their weapons and accepted the possibility that they might not return. Then came the moment. The gates opened. The gladiator stepped into the sunlight. For that moment, the entire world disappeared. There was only the opponent standing across the sand. When the battle began, years of training were tested in seconds. Every strike mattered. Every movement mattered. One mistake could end a life. The crowd watched as warriors fought with swords, shields, nets, and spears. Some gladiators earned victory. Others fell in the sand. And when the battle ended, the fate of the defeated fighter was decided. For the few who survived and became famous, life could change. The greatest gladiators became celebrities of ancient Rome. They earned money, gifts, and admiration. Some became so famous that ordinary citizens knew their names. But fame did not remove the danger. A gladiator always belonged to the arena. For a small number of fighters, there was another reward: freedom. A gladiator who earned his release could receive a wooden sword called the ludus. It was a symbol that he was no longer forced to fight. After years of blood, pain, and sacrifice, he could finally leave the arena behind. But perhaps the most famous gladiator in history was not remembered because he won battles. He was remembered because he challenged Rome itself. His name was Spartacus, a Thracian warrior who was captured and forced into gladiator training. In 73 BC, Spartacus and a group of gladiators escaped from their training school in Capua. What began as a small rebellion became a massive uprising. Thousands of slaves joined his army. For 2 years, Spartacus and his followers fought against Roman forces in what became known as the Third Servile War. Although Rome eventually defeated the rebellion, Spartacus became a symbol of courage and resistance. For centuries, gladiators represented the strength and brutality of Rome. But nothing lasts forever. As the Roman Empire changed, gladiator games slowly disappeared. The cheers faded, the battles ended, and the greatest arena in history became a monument to a forgotten age. Today, the gladiators are gone, but their story remains. They were prisoners. They were slaves. They were warriors. They entered the arena with almost nothing, but through courage, suffering, and survival, they became legends. This was the brutal journey of Rome's gladiators.